everyone! Critical Role is a very well-known Dungeons & Dragons game that has a very large following here on YouTube. Mike watches each campaign, and I have to say the stories that they weave together as a group really make you feel like you're on campaign with them. When I heard that they had a cookbook, I was intrigued. This is exactly the kind of book that I am fascinated by. The question is this book yet another novelty book with beautiful pictures and very bland recipes? Or is this actually something worth investing time in to really explore? To start to answer this question, while I wait for my coffee, I'm going to start with the ginger maple cookies, supposedly from, and I'm going to say this wrong and I'm sorry, Ysarian nobility, amateur baker Lord Urkis. So anyway, I tried. Come bake with me.
We're going to start off with our dry ingredients. We've got 3 cups of flour. We're going to do baking soda number 1, baking soda number 2, ground cinnamon number 1, ground cinnamon number 2, ground ginger number 1, ground ginger number 2, and turmeric. Salt. We're going to whisk those together and make sure that all the spicy lumps are all whisked out. I guess I could have sifted this too, but I didn't. Alright, moving on. As you do, we're going to start with our wet ingredients. So we're starting with our butter. Is the butter supposed to be at room temperature? Yes. Is it? No, of course not. That would have required forethought, planning. Generally having one's act together. Brown sugar, firmly packed. More brown sugar, also firmly packed. And we combine. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to scrape it down. And now we add in our egg and our maple syrup. Oh good, I only spilled a little bit of that. One egg. So now we are going to, with the mixer running, slowly add in our flour. And if you've seen me do this before, you know this is where I usually make the biggest of the messes. So, fingers crossed. Well, yeah, that made a mess, but that was to be expected. I don't know if these cookies will be any good, but they smell amazing. So now, I'm just going to take this off. I'm going to scrape the dough off of the blade, and then we're going to put it in the refrigerator for 24 hours to let the flavors come together a bit. And we'll bake these off tomorrow. Oop, that went well. Into the fridge they go. So here's what happened. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I realized that when I was getting out the ingredients, I completely forgot how math works and got out twice the amount of butter that I was supposed to have. So now I have dough resting in the fridge overnight that has twice as much butter, but not twice as much literally anything else. So that's probably not going to work because baking is chemistry and chemistry does actually matter. The formula you use in chemistry does actually matter. So in an attempt to rectify this, I don't know if this will work, but we're going to try it. I'm going to double all of the ingredients. I'm going to put everything in again, then incorporate everything together. I'm going to put everything in again and essentially doubling the recipe. I'll let it chill again in the fridge for another few hours, and then we'll bake, and we'll see how that comes out. If it's great, perfect, we know that works, and, or at least it did in this case, and if it doesn't, then we'll know that too, and I guess we'll just start over. So, I am once again whisking together all of my dry ingredients. There, turn on my under cabinet lighting, that'll really help you see. All right, now it looks the same as it did before. Adding in more brown sugar. Okay, well, that made just as much a mess as it did the last time. So now we'll scrape this off. Seems to have incorporated okay, and we'll put it back in the fridge. All right, the dough has been chilling in the fridge, and it is now really hard, so I am going to roll it into a little ball, roll it in the demerara sugar, put it on the cookie sheet. We're going to do 2 full cookie sheets and bake them at 350 for 13 to 14 minutes. And then since we doubled the recipe, we'll probably have to do more than that. And we'll bake them all off. Dough is really cold and it's really hard to scoop out. All right, into the oven these go. These are going into a 350-degree oven for 7 minutes, and then I'm going to flip the pans and do another 7 minutes. All right, we're done. Those look good. We will let them cool on the cookie rack, on the cookie sheets completely, and then we'll do final shots.
Here are my final thoughts. These cookies are great. They're so much more than just a soft ginger cookie. The blend of spices really comes through, and the sugar that you roll the dough in provides a really nice crunchy texture compared to the soft interior of the cookie. A few important metrics. Is this cookie worth making at home, with 1 being Oreos, totally not worth making, and 5 being chocolate chip cookies, totally worth making? I'd say this recipe is a 5. If you like ginger cookies or spice cookies of any kind, give these a try. I highly recommend them. Can or should this recipe be made in advance, with 1 being souffle, absolutely not going to keep well, and 5 being fruitcake, will literally keep forever? This recipe is a 4. These cookies should keep well up to at least 5 days, though, to be honest, they didn't last that long in my house, and if Mike hadn't taken some to work, I could easily have eaten all of them myself. How hard was this recipe? With 1 being instant pudding and 5 being the multi-layer death by chocolate cake I might make someday, I'd say this recipe is a 3. While the recipe doesn't require any technical skills or special equipment, you do have to rest the dough, which requires some planning, and this is clearly not my forte, as all the mistakes that I've made on this channel usually result in some kind of planning error. One more thing. Mixing in the second batch of ingredients to get everything to the right ratios to match the butter that I accidentally doubled, while not ideal, did not seem to negatively impact the cookies, so the recipe is pretty forgiving if you make a mistake. If you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload a new video every Friday. And hit that like button if you liked it. If you have a recipe you'd like to see me try, please put it in the comments. And I'll see you next week.